There was a young girl who grew up in South Korea, and this was during the 1980s, 1990s, so Korea wasn't this global sensation like it is now. She was the eldest of four and lived in the southern region, far from the capital, so this was kind of rural, countryside, that kind of area. And life wasn't easy. They had to share all their food, and things like sugar and meat were a rarity, reserved for special occasions. And life wasn't easy, like I said, but life was still good. She went to school, and she was someone that you could call gifted. Teachers called her bright and a pleasure to teach. She was attentive and listened well, and was always going a step further to get the most out of everything. She represented her school in many competitions, and this was quite rare. This was like a countryside kind of school. Not many people stood out, but she was always like going out of her way to represent her school in these kind of competitions. She was the best at English in her class and also good at sports. She worked supremely hard, and she was the type of person you would see and think, she's going places. But it wasn't natural ability. Far from that. People saw this version of her at school, confident, acing tests, enriching her experience and being good at everything. But she would be studying, lying on the cold wooden floors in her room, which she had to share with her younger brother, until the sun set and the moon came up, clutching her candle and her English vocabulary lines, memorizing them and then practicing them for the competition the next day. She was the eldest and she had responsibility for all three of her younger siblings. She had other responsibilities, of course, as a daughter, but she made sure to work hard, do the most that she could. She wanted more for herself, and the thing she hated most was failing to try. Sunum is the exam that all Korean students do at 18 years old.
Some of them cried, many of them prayed. I spoke to some family member earlier.
It's the day where silence falls upon South Korea, and chances are you've probably seen it on like TikTok, Instagram, because it's kind of a really big deal. It's the day where no planes or cars are allowed to go around because of the exams. Like everything needs to be completely silent. It's the day that these young adults' lives are decided. It's where their futures are decided. Students now in Korea prepare their whole lives for this test. It's an 8-hour marathon of back-to-back exams, which not only dictates whether the students will go to university, but can affect their job prospects, income, where they will live, and even future relationships. And now back to that girl. It was her turn to do the sunung. But the thing is, if we look at when the first ever sunung ran, it was 1993. And that was the year this girl was going to do the tests. She would be the first ever to sit these tests. And her school was just a local boarding school. And since she was located in the countryside, and remember that this was still in the 1990s, everything was delayed. People in Seoul and the capital and the main areas, the rich, were able to prepare for the test properly. But even then, since it was the first time that they're doing the test, even the rich, the one with the resources, the one with the good schooling, still struggled to prepare. But for the girls' school, they didn't even have proper teachers to teach this curriculum because it was brand new. They found that very late and preparation was very rushed. As this girl stood outside the exam hall building, she took one last deep breath, composed herself and went in, and then she decided the fate of the rest of her life. And there's so much more to this story, but long story short, she failed. Not exactly though. For sunung, they rank you about how you did by the number. She was like ranked 300-ish in her region, which wasn't even that bad, but not enough for the university of her dreams, the ticket to success. Fate hadn't planned this path for her. She was a hard worker. Everyone said that she would succeed, and yet she didn't. She found out late because of her background and where she lived, and the moderation and marking was obviously skewed as well because this was the first time that they'd ever done this test. The entry requirements were weird and the guidelines were unclear. Imagine preparing for a test that's never ever been sat before. The teachers don't even know properly what they need to teach. It must have been a scary experience. Teachers right now are like, oh yeah guys, so your GCSEs are coming up, and past year students said like this was the hardest thing. None of that. No past papers, nothing. But why am I telling you this story? This girl tried her best. She always took the risk. She never failed to try, and yet it didn't work out for her. But that's just how life is sometimes. We have this perception that if we work hard, we get good results. So a lot of us don't even try that hard. We fail to try. Being under 18 and being ambitious is a gift. If you're watching this as a student, a teen, you're already better than 90% of other teenagers and students. You have goals and you're working towards them, but why not go that extra step to just be in that top 1%? In video games, you have the final objective, but other quests and missions, right? What's your final goal? Acing that test? Getting to the university of your dreams? Getting the physique? Well, that's the ultimate goal. That's your Dragon Slayer achievement. But to work up to that, you need 20 mana and 340 magic points. That's studying. You have to do flashcards instead of scrolling. Read instead of watching Netflix. Might not be fun. It might not be your purpose, but you need that mana and magic to get to your final goal. Don't waste your potential, bro. You may think that this is extreme, but is it really that extreme? If for your Dragon Slayer quest, your ultimate goal, the income, the lifestyle, the thing that you really want, is it that absurd? Is it that extreme to want to make some sacrifices for that thing? Your ultimate goal, bro, your Dragon Slayer quest, the grades, the university, your dream job, stop losing sight of it and stop slowing down. Whether you know it or not, you're gonna come to a point in your life where you have a deciding moment. As students and as teenagers, this is just the truth. Whether it's a big exam like that or it's an interview, a crucial path will open and you'll be faced with it. And if you haven't done the things that you know you should have been doing, working towards your goals, trying but failing and trying again, you're not gonna get the results that you want. A lot of us are failing to try, full stop. Doing the difficult thing that you need to do right now is too difficult for you. Studying, exercising, taking care of yourself, and that's why you don't put in the time time to go sit down and study for that exam. So instead you do the easy thing, scroll, watch meaningless content, waste your time, scroll, waste your potential. There are people out there that do all the right things and still don't achieve their goals, just like that girl. But when you have your goal, you want to get a good job, you want to be successful, you want the physique, you want the lifestyle, and yet instead of doing all those things, you just take the easy route out. If you don't sacrifice things for your goal will become the sacrifice. And I'll say that again. If you don't sacrifice things for your goal will become the sacrifice. This is more of a message to myself than anything, because that was me. Younger me wanted the lavish lifestyle, the physique, the good grades, and yet I wasn't doing the things that would get me to that goal. I'd never had these goals. If I just like wanted to be mediocre, average, like live an average life, that would have been fine, because that's the way I was living. But it was the fact that I had the audacity to have these big goals, these big ambitions, because do you not? You also want to be rich. You think that you deserve more, you want that lifestyle, and yet are you even doing anything to achieve that? I read in a book recently that average people who say they never try too hard in school because they never wanted to be that great, do they not have to work hard? They all really need a large amount of discipline and effort to live their lives. Their life isn't easy. They need to put in effort, discipline, and hard work. All of that isn't even directed to a goal. And so align yourself to your goals. The takeaway I want you to have is this: stop failing to try. You're the vehicle. You and what you do. Your actions will determine if you're going to reach the point that you want. So stop letting these things that you don't even enjoy, things that don't get you any closer to your goal, take up your time. You're on square one right now and you want to get to square 100 of the snakes and ladder board. What's the first step to making it so that you get closer to your goal? Is to remove snakes and add ladders. What are the snakes? What are your ladders? Maybe it's social media that you spend for 2 hours a day scrolling. The ladders will be skills such as studying for that test, putting in that time and working towards your goals. And this isn't even exclusive for studying. If you have the goal of building the physique to go to the gym, you have to sacrifice video games or scrolling for going for the gym, because how else are you going to get to that goal? If you have a business you want to work hard on, you don't stay up late watching Netflix. You wake up early to get the work in. Don't waste your teenage years. If you watch this far, you probably agree with what I'm saying. You don't want to see yourself wasting your potential. And as always, take action and don't waste your teenage years. I know you won't. One of the best things that you can do to not waste your teenage years and start living life towards your dreams, towards your ambitions, is to get good grades. For a lot of you guys, whether it's a job, a career, you want to make your parents proud, getting good grades is all a piece of the puzzle for that, right? It could change the whole trajectory of your life, the college you go to, the jobs you get. But the first step is to take action and not waste your valuable teenage years. Anyone can get good grades, and yes, anyone. It's not about being smart or studying for ages. It's about learning how to do well on the exam. And so if you want to level up your grades and want help in becoming the best student that you can be, click the first link below to watch a free special video I put together on getting the best grades and transforming your life as a student. And if you're willing to, it's going to be one of the best things that you do to take that step to becoming the student of your dreams. But anyway, make sure to take action, and I'll see you next time.